Do you know someone that would benefit from learning more about credit, savings, budgets, debt elimination? I'm Joaquin Thompson Sr. Stay tuned for the Daily Bread. Welcome to the Daily Bread Show. I'm your host, Joaquin Thompson Sr. The goal of our show is to educate, motivate, and elevate our viewers to make better financial decisions in their lives. On this episode, we welcome millennial car buying specialist Uzziah Harris. Thank you for joining us, Uzziah.
Nice to be here, man.
How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I can't complain.
Oh, man, you doing better than that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of things going on in life, and car buying and car selling is just what I do.
Hey, man. Hey, that's why we brought you on the show, because in my research, I found that you're one of the top salesmen in your area. And one of the things that I found as being a financial literacy expert is many people make a lot of mistakes when they go out and buy a car. So what I want to do today is I wanted us to kind of walk through the process. I want to talk about some of the myths, but I also want you to give some advice to our viewers on ways that they can either make better purchases or just be prepared for the car buying process. Is that fair?
That's pretty good. We can do that.
Well, let's start at the top. What are some of the top mistakes that you see people making when they're buying a car?
Well, I can tell you one of the biggest things people make as far as being a mistake when coming to buy a car, most people don't know how much car they can actually afford or what type of car they can afford. Because when you're going to buy a car, you have the difference between a new car or a pre-owned car.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to interest rates on used cars, most banks are going to give you a higher interest rate on a used car, simply because when you're buying a used car, the bank knows nothing about the car. Okay. Somebody turned the car in, they bought it from an auction, so the bank just knows that somebody at a dealership put a number on the car and somebody's just coming to buy it. Car could have 3 wheels on it, and somebody's driving off with it, and wheel falls off, they're trying to bring it back, but the bank done already paid for the car. So now the car's coming back. Now, whereas a new car, banks are more reluctant to give people loans on new cars and lower the interest rate because it's coming straight from the manufacturer. You're leaving that dealership with insurance, gap insurance, warranties. They know if anything happens to that car, it's going to get taken care of, and that person is going to still be able to drive it and still be able to pay for it. So when people come in, let's say they have a trade-in or something like that, they want to upgrade most of the time. But most of the time, their income doesn't match what you want in a new car.
See, now I got to stop you right there, because you said some key things that I always see when I'm working with my clients is that incomes don't match with what they are thinking they are ready to buy. So is that the beginning of the end in the car buying process?
Basically, because say you coming in with like a 06 car, you want backup camera, some technology features, safety features, stuff like that. Those things cost. So at the end of the day, when you're telling me, when I'm qualifying you for what type of car I can actually put you in, you're actually going up in price as what you're telling me you want. So if you're telling me I want a backup camera, I want blind spot monitoring, I want rear automatic braking, stuff like that, you're going up in price of the car, but you're not going up in how much you can pay or willing to pay. And
when you say can pay, some of the things that I see when I'm working with clients is that they don't take that into consideration, and that really puts them into what I call the position to fail, meaning they start to buy cars. They say they want these features, not understanding that it's an additional cost. But sometimes it's not even about the additional cost. It's about them not knowing how much they can really afford within their budget. So one of the things that I always say with salesmen, and this is where you could come in and kind of either correct me or break the myth down, is like a lot of times the salesman is all about making a sale, regardless if the person has the money, doesn't have the money, or if they can just get them into a car. Is there any truth to that?
Well, yeah. I want to speak directly on myself, because I try to educate my customer as well as trying to put them into a new vehicle as well. Because I'm sitting there telling you, hey, this car is going to be a little bit too much for you. But at the end of the day, when somebody makes a decision or they have something going on with their life where they just need another car, the most I can do is educate you, but I'm not going to stop you.
Right, because that's what I call the fever, right? So once a person sees something be it a car or some other item that they want to purchase,
They're gonna get it regardless.
they're going to get it regardless.
Don't matter if it's from me or the dude.
They're going to
across
get it
the street.
somewhere.
They're gonna
So
get
you
it
might as well
somewhere.
be from you, right?
Might as well be from me, right?
Okay, so go ahead with that process. Tell us about, how they really start to get into something that they really shouldn't be getting into.
Well, the thing is that most people come into the dealership thinking discounts come from out of the blue. Right? They don't know that the dealership pays for the cost of a vehicle. More often than not, cost is less than the MSRP. So dealerships have a little wiggle room to make a little bit of money on the customer. But they don't. They think that we just have all the money in the world to take off the car to get it into your budget. That's what most people mess up at, because now you're paying for a car that's not in your budget. So you want to be at $400 a month, but to get everything you wanted, it's $600 a month. And most people have that, I'm trying to be, because this is what I hear all the time, I want to be $300, $400 a month. Well, I try to tell people every single time you sit down with me, now, for every $10,000 you finance, that's at least a $200 car note.
Okay.
So if we're looking at a $30,000 car, you're looking at least $600. And that's before interest. That's before interest.
Now, I want to stop you right there too. Interest.
Mm-hmm.
When your customers are buying a car, are you educating them on this payment is going to include both principal and interest? Because what I find in researching and in working with clients is many people don't understand the interest and how it factors into your long-term notes. Is that something that you talk about on the front end, or is it something that's kind of going over the head of people when they're going out to buy a car? They're not even thinking about the interest.
Yeah, they're not even thinking about the interest at all.
Wow.
They're thinking that I'm just paying for the car and I get to drive it. Interest, them paying their payment every single month, they're thinking, I'm just paying for the car, I'm just paying for the car. At a certain point, you start paying for the car. But when you first buy that car, depending on your interest rate, you don't know how long you're just paying interest and not paying on the actual vehicle price. Because people come in, they got the online prices. I got a car, $33,000. Oh, we're discounted $70,000. It's $26,000 now. So they come in, but they don't know dealer fees, tax tag and title. If it's a new car, most people don't know that dealers throw accessories on cars like wheel locks, paint sealant, nitrogen in tires. Those are costs that add into that extra cost. So now that $26,000 car then went to a $29,000, $30,000 car.
Whoa.
And that's before we add in interest.
Right.
So now I'm out of your budget again.
Okay.
So nobody really thinks about that. They see that price online and like, all right, I'm paying that. Let me do math. Okay, over 72 months. My payment's $375. Bet I can get it in for $375. But now you don't know your credit. So you a $500 thinking you're gonna be paying $375 a month,
right?
But really the bank finna hit you with a 17-18% interest rate, and now $375 the balloon to $550, $600. Right. Now you got to make an educated decision. Do I really want all these features? Can I really afford this car? And that's why I try to tell people, if this isn't the car for you, tell me. I can find something else for you. But most people, we talked about it, that fever.
That ain't gonna work, because once that fever gets on you,
you stuck.
You stuck. And if I don't get it from you, I'm gonna get it somewhere. So it's really hard for you to combat the fever once you start to do it. And all of these things are just, to what I say is just on the periphery, because ultimately I'm buying a car, especially the season that we're getting into, where people are starting to have access to, tax refunds and some other money, discretionary income that's coming into play. So they're saying, I'm going to buy this car. So that's why I kind of caution before they get to the dealership. There's some research or homework or things that they need to do before they get there. But one of the things that I want to make sure that we do, I don't want to rush through this process, because I know people are really interested in what we're talking about. So the thing that I want to do is make sure that we start to give them some tangible steps that they can go through as they're going through this process. And some of the main things, so even if you're not looking at the interest and how that equates to all of the different things that come on a car, what are some of the key components to a good car purchase?
You have their down payment, you have the total price of the car before interest, and you have your payment per month. So those three factors, they factor into the whole car buying process. You only get one, bank gets the other two.
So let me do this. Let me pause you right there because I know our audience is going to want to find out exactly what they need to do to make those 3 steps critical in the car buying process. So I want you all to stay tuned to more of the Daily Bread Show. Do you know someone that would benefit from learning more about credit, savings, budgets, debt elimination? I'm Joaquin Thompson Sr. Stay tuned for the Daily Bread. But even in saying that, Joe, every week I come, man, I get so excited to talk to people about this because, my thing is this. Don't come and listen to, I want 1 million people to listen to my show. That's why I go out and I hustle and I try to meet people and I try to talk and this, that, and other. But at the end of the day, my purpose, and I really found it on this show, my purpose is really just to come on and educate people, to get motivated about making changes in their financial life, and then elevate themselves, right? Because you can't teach like you say, hey, my son had a project. You can't teach your son what you don't know, right? So I'm trying to get at people at an earlier age, 26, 27, 25, saying, hey, I can show you some stuff, put some stuff in you. You ain't gonna do it all because you're young, I get it, but if just some of that stick, you're gonna think differently. Because I'm exposing you to some stuff that's real, right? So in the world of finance, you see how these cats, they running things. We run out trying to improve our credit score. These cats are like leveraging, got their bonds, right? They ain't even, they like personal credit.
I was always taught that if you have money, you don't need credit. If you got cash, you don't need credit.
Wait a minute, man. I don't think you're right, man. Say that again. Wait a minute, man. Say that.
And again, you'll hear some fundamental things that I've.
Welcome back to the Daily Bread Show. I'm your host, Joaquin Thompson Sr., and today we have the millennial car buying expert, Uzziah Harris, with us. And where we stopped at, Uzziah, was you was giving us the 3 critical components to the car buying process. So let's pick it up right there. Let's pick up these 3 things that people have to do in order for them to have a successful car purchase.
So like I said, the 3 factors you have are the down payment, the total price of the car before interest, and the payment per month. You get one, dealership gets one, the bank gets the other one.
Whoa. What does that mean? So you get one, the bank gets one, and the dealership gets one.
All right. So say you come in, you tell me you want $350 payment. That's fine. The dealership or the bank gets to choose how much of the car you can afford and
the down payment.
The down payment.
Okay.
So if you want to be at $350 a month, all right, we got a $26,000 car, and it's going to be $3,000 down for you to be at $350 a month.
Oh,
so if you want a $26,000 car, bank gets the down payment and the payment per month. So if you want $26,000, you're going to owe us $1,000 down, and the car is going to be $485 a month.
But how would I know that? How is it set up? Let me just say it a different way. Is it set up for us to fail, or how would the average person know just walking in off the street? Not only those 3 critical factors, but it seems like the dealership or the salesman is playing on, like, I know these 3 things, you don't, so whatever you say, it's kind of like the shell game. If you say down payment, then I know I got, interest and I got, total price. If I say total price, then you got interest and down payment. Is it that type of shell game going on?
Kind of, sort of, because you don't.
This is the Daily Bread Show, so you can be honest with
you. You don't have total control.
Okay.
You don't have total. That's the whole thing.
But how do I gain control?
You never can, Because at the end of the day, you're coming to buy something from me.
Right.
So let's see. You go to the grocery store, right?
Right.
Do you get to the counter with your head of lettuce? Lettuce is $1.13 a pound. You got a 3-pound head of lettuce. You say, nah, man, I ain't paying $3.67 for this lettuce, man. I want to pay $2 for this lettuce. Do you do that?
I
No.
don't.
No.
I don't.
You don't do that.
I don't. But
Nobody
I
does that.
believe in control. I believe in controlling the process.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, and you tell me right or wrong, one of the things that I teach my clients is before they even come to see you,
Mm-hmm.
one, you need to know your budget, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how much car you can afford. Like, don't just wake up with the fever and you going out to buy a car today. Because
Mm-hmm.
now you like, I've been looking at that Silverado. I want to go get it. So number one, I always tell them, look at your budget.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is look at your credit. So that way you'll know where you at. Because a lot of times, once you get on the lot, you go through those 3 critical steps that you just shared with us, then they're going to put you into where you want to be with interest, total payment, down payment.
See, that's
once you get
another
into
thing.
that.
Most people don't know their credit. They use these apps like Credit Karma, or
Right.
if you're banking with a banking institution, they'll show you your credit score in the app or online. Usually, I tell people those credit scores are on a different algorithm that the bank the car dealership is going to use to get your credit score. I usually tell people if you got a 650 in that app,
Right.
take 30 off of it. You got a 620.
But we close.
But we
right?
close. We close.
And
But
I'm gonna give away some secrets. I know you're the car expert,
Mm-hmm.
but this is what I do. I always tell my clients, look, come to the dealership already pre-approved with your certificate in hand, either from your bank or your credit union. So when I walk into the lot, most times when I go, I'm not even talking price. I'm not giving you the 3 things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I want you to work and compete against me. Right? Because I feel like if I tell you number, then you're going to go to down payment and interest. But if I don't tell you the number, I make it vague, then you kind of like trying to figure out where to put me at. But I already know my number because I got my number in my pocket.
But pre-approvals are tricky. And I
Okay.
just went over this with my fiance last night.
So tell me about how they trick you.
So this is a pre-approval, right? Pre-approval is you're with a bank or somebody and they already have access to your credit. So they're giving you a number based on what they see on your credit, that how much car you can afford, what they think the interest rate they're going to be able to give you, and what your payment per month is going to be, right?
Right.
So that's a pre-approval. Nothing has been submitted. That's just what they think.
Well, wait a minute. Maybe we're doing like mix on words, right? Because the pre-approval I'm talking about is I have it in my pocket, and the ones that I've used before, like when I pull it out, I give it to you. I'm not going to what I call the death chamber, right? And the death chamber is when you get to that finance office, right? That's where everybody go to the death chamber. I'm like, nah, you're not taking me there. And the pre-approval I'm talking about is when I reach in my pocket and I pull it out, because what I want to compete with you on is just price. Because if we talking about price and you say, hey man, I can get you down to such and such price, and then I'm thinking in my head like, okay, I want price, because you're thinking that you can still get interest and down payment, but I'm out of that game. I already got my price. So if you tell me 26, I can get this car at 26. I'll let you go through, your iteration, and then I give you that pre-approval.
So the pre-approval is 2 types of pre-approvals. You're going to have a pre-approval through like your bank or something like that, and you're going to have a pre-approval through like a credit company, right?
Right.
So if you're coming in with a pre-approval through a bank, all I'm really giving you is the bottom line number. That's the price of the vehicle, tax tag, title, any dealer fees, any accessories that come on the vehicle.
Correct.
That's the only thing I'm giving you. You're going to bring me back a check from your banking institution, right?
Right.
So when you got a pre-approval through a credit institution, people thinking, okay, this is exactly what I'm getting. This is all I'm coming for. But no, I have to submit it. I have to submit that same information that you told that
Oh,
bank.
no, I ain't talking about that one. No, because the one I'm talking about is money.
Right, yeah.
It's
So the
money.
one
So
from
when
the
I give you
banking
this 26,000, that's it. That's the deal.
You're bringing me back a check. That's
right.
it.
That's it. That's it.
Because your financing is through somebody already.
It's done.
That's all.
So do you feel like that gives you more control of the process?
That gives you, that does give you more control, because you already know going in, you already know what you can afford. You already know, you should already know.
Your payment.
Interest. And interest. But you got to factor in that bank gave you, say, $30,000.
Right.
Everything is $30,000. Not the price of the car. everything. That's tax, tag, title. Everything has to be under 30,000.
Correct.
So with that being said, that's how you know. Now, if you come in, oh, my bank said.
But listen, even if it's at 30, you're not gonna leave nothing on the table.
Right.
So even if I'm at 28, you're gonna make what I found is you all can make the deal work, right? Because you're gonna say, I need my commission. The finance manager needs his commission. So you're not letting me leave with money. Because what I found is, as a financial literacy expert, people don't, when you show a person money, they're not gonna let you leave with it. Okay. That's at a car dealership, that's in the street, that's wherever you at. If you show a person, hey, I got $30,000, you're not leaving with it. Just know that.
Yeah.
Right? So whatever we need to do that.
And that's why I tell people, when you come into the bank and you got a pre-approval letter, take $5,000 off that letter. You came in with 30 grand, tell them you got 25 grand, because it's like that in every negotiation in a business deal. You're not gonna show your whole hand.
Correct.
So in my younger years, I've had plenty of cars, like 17, 18 cars. You know
Wait a minute. You're only 27. You had 17, 18 cars? 17,
18 cars, man. I used to buy a car year after year after year. I used to have a new car every single year.
Right.
New car every single year. But I got to a point, we got family now. I can't be buying new cars every single year, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I would go in and I'm a lowball you. Like, I would buy cars cash, but I'm a lowball you as far as I can go without you, you know what I'm saying, punching me in the face just for offering you that number, right?
Right.
So if I've seen a car for 10 grand, let's say I got 12 grand in my pocket, right? I'm going to go 6 just to see what you say. I need a rebuttal, because I need to know, all right, you listing it for 10, but I need to know what you really are going to accept.
Wow. And that's something, again, we want our viewers to understand that it's all right to lowball a person, but sometimes people feel like when they lowballing a person,
they ain't got no money.
No, they're being disrespectful, right? Because some people get offended when I got this car listed at 10 and you come in and say, hey, I'll give you 5 or I'll give you 6. Then as the seller, sometimes I'm offended because I'm like, you're not serious. Like, you here to play that type of shell game. Is that fair?
Well, it is fair to you. Because at the end of the day, you don't 100% know the value of that car. You just see the number of the sale price. Okay. So any number that you give me, regardless of if it is too low, I ain't saying going in there on a $10,000 car or a $20,000 car offering $1 or $2 grand for it. Correct. Because you have to have that mindset of like, all right, they're not just going to take all this money off of this car, but they will negotiate with me. And a lot of people don't like to go the little back and forth, but a lot of people just want a high priced car for the cheapest they can get it. And that's the thing that messes them up, because you want this car, but you really can't afford it. You want us to make it as cheap as possible for you. And most dealerships won't do that. They'll rather just let you walk and just figure out, hey, somebody else is going to buy this car at that price.
Right, because are the margins pretty thin in that process?
They are really thin. They are really thin. The biggest thing, the biggest cars that you can get a lot of money off of are really only trucks. Okay. Because trucks have a good amount of rebate in them. Trucks, you can go 10, 12, sometimes even 15 grand off the truck. Small cars, you're barely even, probably max, you probably get like 6 off of it. Now, these are brand new cars. Right. Used cars, you have the minimal amount, because now where people have, online shopping and everything like that, people are going to price their cars online the lowest, so you can just come see them, sign that paper, and leave.
So I know we're getting close. So this is what I need for you to do, right? Just give us, me and my viewing audience, give us those 3 critical factors as if you were going to a lot or you going to a individual, like a private seller. What are those 3 or 4 or 5 steps that every person needs to know when they're buying a car?
When you're buying a car, know where your credit is.
Okay.
Know your credit history.
Know your credit and your credit history.
If you know that you had a repo before, you haven't been paying on some credit cards, because, credit cards are 35% of that credit score. Payments. Payments are 35% of that credit score. Correct. So if you missed a couple payments, just know that credit score took a hit because of that. And the bank is going to look at that too. Well, you can't pay no $100 credit card minimum payment. How is he going to pay a $20,000 payment per month on a car? Correct. That's one of the things you need to know. Okay. 2, you need to know how much overall car you can afford. Not what you want in a car, but how much car you can actually afford.
And not how much you want, but what you can afford.
What
so
you
that's
can
number
afford.
2.
That's number 2.
Okay.
And the third thing, how much you can actually put down. If you can't do anything, that needs to be said up front, because a lot of dealers are going to try to get something out of you. They're going to play to your emotions. Well, the banks wants to see some type of commitment from you.
And that's what I mean. You said the key phrase there, play to your emotions, right? And that's what I find a lot of times in the financial arena. Most of the purchases that people make are emotional, right? It's not based on fact. It's not based on data. It's not based on your credit. It's not based on your credit history, but it's based on what you feel or what you emotionally feel that you want at the given time. So in closing, what are some of the things that you want people to know about you? How has personal finance impacted your life in that whole space of being a millennial car sales expert?
Budgeting. Honestly, that's one of the biggest things, because a lot of people get into these car notes and you're not going to pay. Most car notes are like 72 months. The average person keeps their car 3.5 to 4 years. After that time, they're trying to get into a new one.
Okay.
So you need to know how much you can afford over that time, because it's going to become a time where you're not going to want that car anymore. Something better is going to come out. So you need to know that you're not going to go broke and then, oh man, I need another car. Well, the interest rate was high on this one.
Right.
So,
right.
When I go trade this one in, I owe $12,000 on a 2006, and they only giving me 2 for it. Now I got 10 grand. You know what that 10 grand goes into? The new car.
The new car. Well, Uzziah, I really appreciate you coming on to the Daily Bread Show and sharing that, some of what I call those secrets, behind the scenes information that I want all of our viewers to know. Tell us where we can find you, have a positive car buying experience.
Well, that's one of the things I specialize in. Apart from getting people the greatest deals out here in America has ever known.
Okay.
Customer service.
Okay.
That's where you remember me every single time.
So where can they contact you at to buy, to purchase, or find out what they can purchase?
Nissan of Lithia Springs, 811 Thornton Road, Lithia Springs, Georgia. I'm there almost every single day.
Hey, we appreciate you for coming on the show.
I appreciate
Thank you.
y'all
You
for
have to come back and join us.
Oh, I definitely have to. I got a lot more to tell you. It's a whole bunch you can learn about.
Okay. Well, I hope you all learned a lot today from this car sales expert, Mr. Uzziah Harris. And join us on our next episode of the Daily Bread Show. That was some great conversation. And here's some tips to live by.
When you're buying a car, know where your credit is.
Okay.
Know your credit history.
Know your credit and your credit history.
If you know that you had a repo before, you haven't been paying on some credit cards, because credit cards are 35% of that credit score. Payments. Payments are 35% of that credit score.
Correct.
So if you missed a couple payments, just know that credit score took a hit because of that, and the bank is going to look at that too. Well, he can't pay no $100 credit card minimum payment. How is he going to pay a $20,000 payment per month on a car?
Correct.
That's one of the things you need to know.
Okay.
2, you need to know how much overall car you can afford. Not what you want in a car, but how much car you can actually afford.
And not how much you want, but what you can afford. So that's number 2.
That's number 2.
Okay.
And the third thing, how much you can actually put down. If you can't do anything, that needs to be said up front, because a lot of dealers are going to try to get something out of you. They're going to play to your emotions. Well, the banks wants to see some type of commitment. That most people come into the dealership thinking discount come from out of the blue. Right? They don't know that the dealership pays for the cost of the vehicle. More often than not, cost is less than the MSRP. So dealerships have a little wiggle room to make a little bit of money on the customer, but they don't. They think that you just have all the money in the world to take off the car to get it into your budget. That's what most people mess up at, because now you're paying for a car that's not in your budget. So you want to be at $400 a month, but to get everything you wanted, it's $600 a month.